Hey, everybody, and welcome to the HERstory Collaborative. My name is Jen Buck, and I'm your host here in the collab. Now, I'm all about advocating, activating, and amplifying high-performing women. And that's what the HERstory Collaborative is all about. Trailblazing women who are changing their little corner of the world. Now, my next guest is Cat Oshman. Cat is a success-proven VP, nationally recognized swimwear designer, and confidence catalyst. She has traveled the globe for inspiration with designs featured in major fashion publications, celebrities, and retailers across the country. Cat is a visionary who marries the art of fashion and purpose with body positivity, inclusivity, and diversity. She recently launched a show called Amen, which stands for Amplified Moms Empowerment Network, to bring unity and growth mindset across the globe for women. I am so excited to introduce you to her. She is making such a difference for women everywhere. Welcome to the collab, Cat.
Thank you, Jen. That was a very well-written introduction. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
You are welcome. I have to, just so that everybody knows, I actually was introduced to you through someone on LinkedIn. And since I spoke to you, I've been amazed at all the things you do. Like you are out there, you are moving, you are making a difference. And I'm just so impressed with all the things that you're involved with. And I would love to sort of start as much at the beginning as we can, right? I mean, I know that I can't go all the way back, but I know you're from California, and I know that you are in, the world of fashion as a designer, specifically working in the swimsuit arena, and you're a vice president of the organization. Tell me about that, because I love seeing women who are killing it in business. So tell me a little bit about what you do there.
Okay, so what I do currently is I'm the VP of Design for Women's Swimwear. And I come from 25 years of experience in the fashion industry designing women's swim. And I'm basically creative director. I also do a lot of designing. We have a lot of licensed brands. Mm-hmm. So the licensed brands are like BCBG Max Azria, Generation. Wow. We have globally recognized brands like Nautica as well, Caribbean Joe, Spider. So all those licensed brands are in multiple categories. And what we do is we design the swimwear for those brands and manufacture. So anywhere from concept to production, that's everything that we do.
That is so cool. And now I know as a woman, and I know that this is transitioning us right into what you do. I know as a woman that I, like many of my immediate circle of women, we sort of dread going swimsuit shopping, right? It's too bright. It's too revealing. It feels like gravity is taking hold, and it's really often traumatic to go through that process. And I know that that's been a catalyst for you as you've moved into this space of helping empower women in their own bodies. And I really want to dig into that, because I think that this is something I've never heard another woman doing. And I feel like with your background and the need that's out there, I feel like you're in on something that's really, really important for women. So tell us about that.
Absolutely. So everything that you said, it all comes from a personal experience, right? So with me being Filipino, and I said that I've been in the industry for 25 years, taking it back, I was surrounded by a lot of very, very tall people, like models, sales reps, people in the industry, and also a lot of more light-skinned people. So not only was I shorter, I was like growing up in the industry as a minority, and I went through a lot of like confidence, tests. And now that I'm older and wiser, I can joke around with it, because also I'm more confident and I know my stuff, right? Like no one can tell me otherwise. So, and I like to joke around and say I'm boob height. So when I'm working with a model, if you're passing by, we look like very different in height, but because I'm used to working with the body, I don't feel short any longer. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm the perfect height, for fitting and boob height, whatnot. But joking aside, I had to do a lot of work on myself with accepting who I was. And when I started doing that, I was like, okay, I'm in a really good place now, especially after having a child. I'm like, my body is never going to be ish, or I'm never going to be tall, right? So just accepting all those things that I'm not. And I realized that when I do focus groups or even meeting women in general, they get really excited meeting me because how often do you get to meet a designer? But the next thing that normally comes out of their mouth are all the reasons why they can't wear a swimsuit.
Yeah.
And like you said, it is traumatic, but it's an interesting narrative that I found where women are constantly pointing out their flaws. So if they're telling me that, meeting me for the very first time, imagine what they tell themselves every day when they look into the mirror.
Yes.
So that's deep work that we need to do personally, but even like mainstream media, it's great now. It's all about body positivity, diversity, but even 5, 10 years ago, that didn't exist.
Mhm.
It's everyone trying to look the same. So that is my mission and my purpose, like to use the work that I do to reach women and opening up those platforms like the Amen Show to, and being a guest on different shows such as yourself is to amplify that message with women because I don't think we can hear it enough,
I agree.
right? Like,
Yeah.
and it really is, shopping for swimwear is scary as public speaking.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
you're
Yeah.
half naked in public.
Yes, absolutely. Now, I always think about where this stuff comes from, right? And I'm always sort of trying to disengage from the norm. And so I think that you nailed it when you said, 10 years ago, we were all still trying to be alike. And thankfully, things are changing, and we are seeing this celebration of different, right? Celebration of the unique, celebration of ideas and people who are walking a different path. I mean, whether that's in art or creative ideas, or it just doesn't matter.
Mhm.
Any idea in the world. And so, I really admire that you're doing the work, and I'm curious what you think sort of causes this. What is it that gets implanted in girls? Because there was, for all of us, there was a time we never even thought about this stuff. Put me in a bathing suit and I'll live in that suit all day long. Both of us, I used to live in California as well. I spent the majority of my time as a child in a bathing suit, right? And so something happens. And what do you think that's attributed to? I'd love to hear sort of your thoughts around where this insecurity comes from.
I mean, even before the internet, we were all growing up insecure because as women, as girls, we all develop at such different age. So it starts there. But I think a lot of it too is unless you have parents or somebody that you look up to, like teachers, who teaches you to embrace where you're at any stage of your life, whether you're an adolescent, a teen, middle age, whatever. You're going to compare yourself. I think it's just a natural human occurrence,
Yeah.
and it's unfortunately a natural thing. And it's even worse now because kids have phones.
Yes.
We all have phones. We're constantly on our phones. I look at my screen time, and granted, I use it for work a lot, but how do you differentiate how many hours is work and social media?
For sure.
Right? Like, you can't anymore.
Yeah.
So I think it really stems from the messaging that we're getting from people around us, our friends, right? Like we have to support our friends with those positive messages and our family.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
if not, like we got to go do the work ourselves, no matter how many years it takes.
Yeah. I remember as a little girl, my my mom had two sisters, and they were all beautiful blonde California women, and they were all very fit. They were all teeny tiny people. All of them were like 5'11". I'm sorry, 4'11", like 100 pounds, tiny little petite women. And I remember looking up to them as the most beautiful women in the world, right? My mom and these two aunts of mine. But I also remember going to Palm Springs or going down to the beach and hearing them just sort of rip apart their bodies. Oh, this and oh, I can't stand that. And it got in there. That's the best thing, or the best way I can say it, is that I heard it. The most beautiful women in the world to me were talking about all the things that were wrong. And I think you hit something so important when you said that we've got to find someone in our space that's going to help us through that. And that's what's really hard about this, right? Because
Right.
most women are not talking about how much they love their body. We all should be, because of all of the stability it brings us, all the movement, all
Yeah.
the health, all the, all the great things our bodies do. But that's hard to find. And so I wonder what it is that you do with women, because this is so needed. It's crazy. I'm thinking of my own daughter. I mean, this is so needed. And I'd love to hear what you do when you're working with women to help them get to a place where they really do love the skin they're in.
One of the first things that I do is I don't focus on the body, actually, which is ironic, right? Because as a swimwear designer, it's all about the body. It's designing for the different shapes. But where I start, depending on who I'm speaking with, is there's a reason we make different styles and different sizes.
Yeah.
Like, no, you're not too big, or no, you're not too little. I mean, you can shop for any size. Like, it exists out there now.
Yeah.
So if brands and the fashion industry is making something to fit you, that doesn't mean, like, that really means it's meant for you. You can go out there and buy it. And I know it's a piece of clothing, but nothing out there should make you feel insecure, because first of all, even with fit, like, brands fit differently. So you could be one size in one brand and another size in another. Like, I don't necessarily shop for size. I don't cry when I would fit into a large top, because if it's a junior top, it's not going to fit me. So I no longer fit by size, and just understand that certain brands don't even do proper fittings, so it's not going to fit anyone.
Yeah. Right. And I'm sure you know all about this. We hear these whispers of how certain brands and certain stores are actually considering changing their sizing so that it makes people feel better and buy more. I remember specifically hearing this about a brand, that they were going to change everything and make all of the numbers smaller so that women, this is really more of a female thing. I'm not saying it's not a male thing, but it is more of a female thing for sure. So that women feel better, which in theory, I do love that. If anyone wants to make us feel better, fantastic. But that's not
Right.
solving the problem, right?
No.
And
No.
it's really ultimately about capitalism. It's not really about making the woman feel better solely, right? And so
Exactly.
I think that you're onto something here, that we just have to get over the numbers. We
Right.
have to get over this expectation, right?
So it's called vanity sizing, and it's been around for many years. They will, instead of like 2, 4, 6, they'll just make it 1, 2, or 3. And it's very confusing. And this is an example. Like, I'm not a 2, but a 2 is such and such with a certain brand. So you really have to read the fit guide. They've been doing that for years. I'm not a big fan of vanity sizing. But I agree, like, we have to get over the numbers with what size you wear and how much you weigh.
Yeah.
Like, people carry weight so differently, and I see it. And for example, if you're in the health industry, or you're like a Beachbody coach or whatever, they're trying to inspire, like, look at me work out, look at how healthy I'm eating. But at the same time, I see it, and it's adding to the toxicity with messaging. Like, I lost 10 pounds. Oh my gosh, I gained 5 pounds from being on vacation. And I see thin women doing this. And it's tragic. Like, it's tragic to see that, because you're 115 pounds saying you gained weight and you're unhappy about it. Like, that's just not cool. No. I haven't been 115 pounds in so long,
You're right. Truly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember, and I think I've shared this on the show before, but I remember when I was growing up, my grandmother was, and on my dad's side, was a very chic lady. From the time my dad was 5 until he was 16, they lived in Europe, and oh gosh, actually they were in a few different places. But the point is, my grandmother was always sort of California chic, if you will, right? American chic. And so when she came back when he was 16, she actually did open up a clothing store for women at some point, a boutique, and then another at some other point later, she opened up like a flower shop or whatever. But when all the kids were finally married on their own, she and my grandfather decided that they were going to go from Orange County up to Tahoe. And they bought like 45 acres up in Tahoe. And this chic woman decided that she was never, ever going to watch her weight again. She was also never going to cut her hair because she always had these like little chic, shoulder length haircuts. And so she literally ate anything and everything she wanted. And she said that was the joy of, of growing old, if you will, is that she could eat whatever she wanted. She could do whatever she wanted with her hair, right? And live the way she wanted. And that was a strong message because that was the other side of the family, right?
Mhm.
On one side of the family, I'm seeing all this perfection and these beautiful women. But on the other side, I've got this incredibly accomplished grandmother who is like, I love me. I love all my kids. I love all my grandkids. I've done it. And now I get to do what I want. And I remember when she passed away, all the things that you think might have happened with the weight and the hair and all of that. Yes, absolutely. But she was deliriously happy. And that was such a strong message too, right? And that's why I think I'm always trying to sort of deconstruct,
Yes.
where does this come from? I mean, in one person's life, I had two such extreme examples of what health or healthiness look like, right? Happiness look like.
I love that you got to see both sides of that. So I think culture plays a big part in what we hear. So growing up Filipino, and I'm not saying everybody does this, but it's kind of like a cultural joke where you're always getting criticized.
Mm.
And I heard it growing up, like not just with me, but with cousins or, whoever. And like, for example, with weight, it was constantly like, oh, you're getting fat, or I'm feeling fat.
Whoa.
Like it was constantly like, oh, did you gain weight? And like when you're going through adolescence, like I remember looking at photos of myself, I'm like, man, I was cheeky. Like I had these full cheeks in high school, but I was petite. It just so happened, I don't know where those cheeks came from.
Yes.
But, when people see that, they're like, oh, you're getting, they would say things. And I'm like, did I really need to hear that? Mm-hmm. So those things get implanted in our brains, and some people can't shrug it off. Like it just stays with them for forever. But we have to take those things into consideration. And it's work. It's work, like letting those things go.
Yeah. So what would you tell women, like in your perfect world, what would you say? I mean, what could you, number one, everybody needs a cat in their life. So let's just throw that out there, right? Like truly. But the other thing is, I think we all are looking for nuggets, right? Everybody wants sort of the short version. What can I do? I've got to get over this. What would you tell women?
I would say, wake up and be grateful. I would say, make a list of things that you're grateful for, things that happen in your life that you can say, like, just make a list. I call it an abundance list, right? So when something good happens, like someone gets me coffee, or I got a treat, or somebody gifted me with something, like any little thing, like just add it to your abundance list. Mm-hmm. And when you wake up every day with gratitude, like that just will start to overflow. And you will naturally do the work, and you will love yourself. You will love others. You will show yourself grace. That's what I had to learn, is showing myself grace. I struggled with not just perfectionism, because if you think about my line of work, we're developing many collections, things that make it into the line and things that drop. when we're done internally, like in the company internally criticizing ourselves, we then take it out to the market to let other people criticize our work, like the buyers.
Right.
So you have to develop thick skin. I've developed thick skin. I've had buyers say the craziest things about some of my designs, and you just have to get over it. And that's sort of how you have to roll in life.
Yeah.
So wake up with a sense of gratitude and make sure that you're prioritizing sleep, healthy habits, and that abundance list.
Yeah. I think one of the best things I ever did for myself was start saying, and I mean this on a daily basis, is start thanking my body. Thanking my body for working, thanking my eyes for seeing, thanking my, my hands for strength, thanking my body. And because I am absolutely not someone who has dodged this bullet on any level, but yet I do spend a lot of my time in a suit. I live in Arizona now, so I am in a bathing suit a lot. But I hit a point around 50 where I just realized that abundance and that gratitude that you're talking about, it switched from thank you for my six pack, or thank you for my skin, or thank you for my whatever, to all of a sudden understanding the power as I watch friends around me get MS, get ALS, major, major issues. Thank you for my brain that works well. Thank you for my body that holds me up. Thank you for my, my legs. Yes, my legs, every bit of them that hold me upright every day. All that stuff is feeding into the soul, right?
Yes.
And we know about the mind-body connection. And I want my body to keep working. I want to be able to keep walking and thinking, quickly. And I just think what you're doing is so important. And I said this to you earlier. I just think that we all need this, we all need that focus on what matters most. And I applaud you for doing this. It's huge. It's just huge.
Thank you. Everything is energy, right? So if everything is energy, what kind of energy are we giving ourselves and are we putting out there? So I work a lot. I'm like a workaholic. And one of the things that I love to do is when my family leaves for volleyball, I'm like, okay, I need some Cat Oshman cat time. So I will set aside intentional time and I will play music. I'll even dance or meditate. And that's just those short breaks that I will give to myself. So whatever it is for women, like they need to set aside those special moments and give themselves that gift of their own time, whatever that is.
Totally. Yeah.
It could even be like chocolate cake in front of the TV. I'm okay with that. I've gifted myself that plenty of times.
Yeah. Last night I ate ice cream out of the container, if I'm completely transparent. Yeah. In front of the television, sitting in my bed. Absolutely. I think that those little
Jen,
gifts
like
are great.
a lot of women would feel guilty doing that, but if you consider it as a treat and as a gift, like by all means, like enjoy it.
Yep.
Right? It's all about balance.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And not ever shaming ourselves.
Yes.
That has to go away. Like the whole concept of shame. I remember my Aunt Janie said, shame is a wasted emotion. I love that. It's wasted. We get nothing out of it. It's wasted time when we're thinking about it. It never amounts to anything positive. It's a wasted emotion. And yeah, I am so tracking with you. And I think what you're doing is really, really important. So
thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I want to transition and find out a little bit about your personal life. Are you good with that?
Yeah.
Yay. So I'm going to ask you some questions. I'll just sort of throw them at you. And whatever comes to mind, these are just speed round. You don't really have to explain yourself or whatever, but it's just fun for us all to get to know you a little bit better. So I always start with this one because it's one of my favorite questions. Who is your favorite woman in history? Again, this can be recent history from, hundreds of years ago, whatever. But if you got an hour to spend like on a park bench with your favorite woman, who would that be for you?
It would be with my grandma.
Oh, I love that answer. Yes. Nice.
So it gets me a little emotional. She's still alive. She's turning 101 in a few weeks. Yes.
You are so fortunate.
Yeah. Yeah. She's a sweetie. She's a sweetie. When when I think about my grandma, like she's never driven a car, she's never taken me anywhere, but she's very special and near and dear to all of our lives. So.
Oh, I love that answer. What a good
Sorry,
answer.
I know that was speed round, but I had to throw
Oh,
that
I
out.
don't care. No. I love it. No. No apologies.
Yeah.
I am so envious of adults, parents themselves who still have their grandparents.
Mhm.
I lost all of mine in my 20s. And of course your
Wow.
grandparents are your
Yeah.
favorite people.
Yeah.
And so I always am so envious of people who still have their grandparents around. Oh, bless her. Love it so much. Love,
Thank
love.
you.
What's your favorite place that you've ever traveled to? I imagine you've gone to some really cool places in your work. Is that true?
Yes, it is. So two places, Hawaii, because that's really originally where I'm from. So there's no place like home.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
But the one of my favorite moments was going back to the Philippines, and we took a firefly tour, like a night tour. And
Wow.
we got in a boat, moved really, really slowly. And when fireflies light up, it has to be like almost no wind. So you look up at the trees and you see all these like twinkly lights that we even forgot that it was real. It
Wow.
was just so peaceful with twinkly lights in the sky/trees. It's
Oh, that's
magical.
very cool. Oh,
Yeah.
love, 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 love. I think one of my favorite things that I've ever done, I spent a month in Kenya and Uganda. And one of my favorite things I've ever done, I was on the back of a moped and we did a jungle tour on the back of a moped. And a huge part of it was just ripping through the trees, just ripping through this incredible jungle. And it was just so exhilarating because all the things that you think are around you are, and we're on these mopeds just flying, warp speed. And it's the simple, right? It's the
Right.
simple thing of being in nature and just being free. I love what you said. I love, love, love it. All right. If you were given $1 million to give to a charity, who would you give yours to?
I don't have any place specific, but anywhere that helps women and children.
Bravo. Yeah. Yeah. What's your favorite book or podcast? It could be either one, doesn't have to be both, but do you have a favorite that you could give us as a suggestion?
Yeah, back in the day, one of my favorite books was Make Today Count by John C. Maxwell.
Yes.
It's a really good one.
Good old John Maxwell. Yeah. Good one. Yes. What's a quirky or wacky fact about you that some people may not know?
Okay, so I love to make people laugh.
Mhm.
And sometimes I can come across very curious, but I can have a really dry sense of humor or be really goofy. And then especially with my family, there's like no holds barred. Like I'm just very bullish about making them laugh at their expense.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's fantastic. And for someone who has to be so serious with work, that is a fabulous outlet.
Yeah.
Yay. Great balance. If you could have a superpower, what would it be?
It would be like a healing power where I can help people, with their pain and show their worth.
Love it. Love it. I bet your people who work with you and for you love you.
They do.
Yeah, I bet they
They do.
do. I don't even know, but I know you're a great leader. It's a great thing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. This question I love always because, it kind of builds my playlist. But if you had a theme song and you were strutting on stage to like 30,000 people in the audience, ready to hear your big idea, what would your theme song be?
I love the beginning of California Love by Tupac and Dr. Dre.
Yes.
I love hip hop 90s
Me too.
any day.
Me.
I will come on stage to California Love.
Yes, without question. And honestly, I don't know if it's a California thing. I don't know if it's a Dre and I don't know what it is, and I don't know if it's because I was young and I was in my teens, but I just love it so much. Yes.
Me too. I still play it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, me too. Yeah. It is on my playlist actually. Yeah. What's one big thing that you want to do before you're done with all this work stuff? What's one big thing you want to accomplish?
I would love to leave a legacy. For example, like the Amen movement, where women are constantly empowering, collaborating with each other across the globe, like from younger, girls all the way up. I think there should be no age like minimum and maximum to the work that we can do as women.
That's
So I'd
awesome.
love to build an organization like that.
Yeah, I love it. We didn't even really touch on Amen. You have to talk about it now. You have to, I mean, a television show and this movement that you've got going. You want to go ahead and say a
Yeah,
few words about that?
yeah, sure. So Amen started, I started a Facebook group and I didn't really do much with it. But what happened was I met Nasiki Mukoko. She's out of South Africa. And our first conversation from having like being very supportive on Facebook, I'm like, let's do a live, like, let's meet live. And we recorded that, ended up being in 2 networks. I'm like, we gotta keep pushing this global sisterhood movement. I mean, I'm from California, she's in South Africa. And I just loved it so much. So it amplifies women from across the globe, promoting conversations around diversity, culture, growth, mindset, and collaboration. So it's fairly new, but we have some really great plans and we've had some amazing guests so far.
Love it. And I see you talking on the red carpet.
Yes.
I see you doing all sorts of hosting and such. You're everywhere. You're everywhere. Living your best life.
Trying to live the best life.
It looks like it. It looks like it. Okay, I have 2 more questions. So, what's the best word to describe you?
I would say confident.
Yes, I would too. Finish this sentence. I love this. When I'm really, really old, I hope to see.
I hope to see my family continue to be in a happy place.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's so important, like as we go through the ups and downs of life, and to see more and more people working together, like in unity and collaboration.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Yeah, me too. Me too. It's been draining being a part of all the conflict. You know, the last decade to half, maybe 5 years, 5 to 10 years have been rough. They've been rough. And I'm ready for that too. You know, unity is important.
Yeah. Yeah, they've been rough. And I think it's so important for us not to get absorbed with all that negative energy and just to keep pushing the positivity and movement however we can, from a local level to a local to global level.
Absolutely. Kat, where can people find you? You are infectious. You are someone you're just very, very, very infectious. So where can people find you?
So everyone can find me on Instagram under Cat Oshman. It's CATOSHMAN. You can also find me on LinkedIn, but I prefer everyone to come find me on Instagram. It's kind of the most active place.
Awesome. That's great. And then is there anything that you want to tell them about the Amen group where they might be able to find you? And is an open group? Is it a private group? Can they be a part of that?
So Amen is a private group. You can search Amen group on Facebook. You can also message me on Instagram. And then you can go on YouTube and look for the Amen Show official, or just type that in. We're starting to put all of our segments in there. And just, subscribe. That would be great.
Awesome. And I'll make sure to put all of your links in the show notes and such so that people can find you, and we'll make sure that there's a direct link, active link in there for them to make it easy. So
perfect.
I appreciate you being here. I want to say, before we actually say goodbye, I want to make sure that I acknowledge our podcast sponsor, who is Lillian Sue with In Retrospect Writing and PR Services. Lillian is a longtime PR coach and publicist, and she's focused on empowering creative entrepreneurs to reach their fullest potential and become global industry leaders. And she works with people on their personalized and strategic coaching plan. She has a coaching program, an in-depth PR course that she provides, and she's dedicated to helping entrepreneurs build strong and healthy PR mindsets and get the acclaim that they deserve. She believes that education and working with a coach is the key to making a difference in your sort of worldwide recognition and brand awareness. So if you're interested in getting in touch with Lillian, you can go to inretrospectwritingservices.com. In retrospect, that's a lot to say in one mouthful here. In retrospectwritingservices.com. So on that, Kat, I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. You're really a cool, cool woman.
Thank you, Jen. I appreciate you having me.
Well, have a great weekend. And everybody, we will catch up with you on the next episode of the HERstory Collaborative. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.